Hello everybody, this is T-Dastikop welcoming you all for my new session. This session is called Learning by Listening. In this session you will find only audio clippings available, and in a presentation you will not see any text or picture. These sessions are meant for learning through listening. Although this can be used by anybody who is interested to learn, this is especially meant or directed at people who are visually impaired or blind. In this first session of Learning by Listening, I will be providing an introduction to cloud computing. Cloud computing is one of the fastest growing and most useful technology which has ever happened to humanity. Cloud computing can serve many purposes, whether you are an individual or an institution or a government or the army or the military. As far as cloud computing is concerned, it is there to help people to use computing in multiple ways without spending money or without buying a machine. So in this session, I will be covering all aspects of cloud computing, starting from its definition to its usefulness, to its service models and deployment models and characteristics and more. And I will also covering certain applications which are there that we can use as an individual or an institution. Also telling about the resources which can be used for developing your own applications on cloud front. As individuals and institutions, on day-to-day basis, we need many resources to run our life. We need electricity, we need water, we need petrol, we need gas and many more things. So when everybody in the society needs, society normally organizes these services available as utilities. These resources are produced in large scale and they are supplied to individual on retail basis. So any such thing which is produced in large scale and supplied to individuals is called a utility. One of the latest addition to this utilities is computing. We all know that to run an everyday life as a normal individual, we need computing a lot many times. For instance, when you want to book a ticket, Indian Railways uses computers to help you to do that. Similarly, when we want to buy a vehicle on online platform or do some online shopping and all, we need computing. Similarly, examination centers and government, they all need computing for various purposes. So realizing this, cloud computing industry has come out with a solution. What cloud computing says that instead of everybody buying a computer and using it, which is very expensive proposition, let us generate a lot of computing at one location and supply to every individual. The places where actually this computing is produced is called data center, and the way it reaches you is called internet. So an individual or an institution who is having connectivity to internet can avail computing without owning computers. This is called cloud computing. Now I will describe what is cloud computing. Cloud computing is a model of delivering cloud computing resource to the user through internet. So there are three parties included in this. One is the cloud, the mechanism through which computing resources are given to the user. Then there is a user who is get connected to this mechanism using internet, and there is a service provider who actually produces these services. Okay, so whenever a user comes to an internet, there will be a service provider who is ready with software or other resources which is required by the user to supply them. For instance, suppose you come to internet, you want to send an email, then you come to internet using your browser, and then you get connected to a service provider such as Gmail and you start using that. So Gmail is actually a service provider, email is actually the service provided, and anybody who is using this service is called a user. So these services are actually produced in places called data centers. So data centers are the location where thousands of machines are placed and this computing is produced, and these produced services are connected to user using an internet. And whatever that you get in cloud computing is called a service. User comes to cloud computing to get services. Services are the resources given by the service provider to the user. There are three distinct kinds of services which are available in cloud computing. Any computer system consists of the hardware and the operating system and an application. Hardware is the physical component in which there is a processor and also memory. So in cloud computing, this combination of memory and computing is called infrastructure. So there are service providers who will provide infrastructure as a service. When a user wants to use the computing power and the storage space, he can ask a company to provide that. So when he is doing this, is called infrastructure as a service. So the next stage of service model is called platform as a service. Many a times you need operating system and related resources to develop your application. So in such case, the service provided is called platform as a service, where actually a combination of hardware, above that an operating system or what is called development environment is given to the end user so that he can design, develop and deploy his applications. The last one and most famous one is called software as a service, in which the end user get ready to run software. Most of us know cloud computing through this software as services. For example, we use web search engine called Google or Hotmail or Facebook or Gmail. So these are the services which can be accessed using your end devices. Cloud computing devices, services can be accessed through your computer, your mobile, your laptop or any device which can be connected to internet. Cloud computing systems have some specialities or characteristics. It is these characteristics which make cloud computing very powerful. In fact, there are 5 characteristics that I am going to describe right now. The first and foremost characteristic of cloud computing is the computing resources are available on demand. That means wherever a user and whenever the user wants a resource from the cloud computing, it would be available. It would be available 24/7 and wherever you are there in the world. Since these services are available whenever you ask for, they are called on-demand services. It is like an ATM where actually you can go and borrow your money or withdraw your money anytime. The next quality of cloud computing is it is available on different networks called broad network access. That means computing resources which is available on cloud computing can be accessed to your mobile network, computer network or any other network. So this is called broadband network access. The third quality of cloud computing is called pooled resources. That means a user can actually access resources from multiple locations, and for that reason even the computer companies or data centers or whatever the service provider, they actually have an ability to pool resources from different centers to meet any demand from the user. Hence it is called pooled resources. The next quality is actually rapid elasticity. What it means is in cloud computing there is no limit. If you start using a particular service and if more and more people start using it, cloud computing service provider will ensure that the services are given to any number of people without any problem, and this is called elasticity. It can be increased. A user can actually increase the demand and also decreases demand. So this property of increasing and decreasing is called elastic property. The next quality is called measured service. Not only cloud computing resources are given to you, they are also monitored all through their usage. That means suppose when you create an email account in Gmail, it will give you 15 GB. So as and when you start consuming, that numbers are indicated to you. Many a times when you log in Gmail, it shows that you have used 20% this, 35% of this. So these are the 5 characteristics of cloud computing which make it very powerful. Now that we know cloud computing is available and it offers us services, and we also know its characteristics, the next important question is how can organization or an individual can use cloud computing. So a particular way in which cloud computing can be used called deployment model. So there are 4 different kinds of ways in which cloud computing can be used, and these are called deployment models. The first and foremost is actually called public cloud. Public cloud is a cloud mechanism in which a particular company or a government will create a cloud and allows people in the population to use that. Anybody who creates an account can use it. For example, Google search engine is one which can be used without creating an account, or Gmail is something which you have to create an account and use. See, it is like KSRTC bus, a bus which is meant for the public transportation. A cloud which is meant for the public consumption is called public cloud. The next category of cloud is actually called private cloud, in which a cloud system is built by the organization and it is used for the internal people like employees, students or associates. It is something like a bus which is run by a college, which is only available for the students of that college and faculty. The third category of cloud is called hybrid cloud. Many a times an organization has to use the combination of private and public. For instance, a college like ours can use public cloud to give some information to parents and other future students, whereas it can store the internal information like examination and other student details in private cloud. So that combination is called hybrid cloud. And there is another 4th category in which a group of organizations which are having this similar interest or identical purposes can come together and create a cloud. It is called community cloud. It is like building an apartment where a common piece of land is used to build different houses. So there are essentially 4 categories of cloud deployment model: public, private, community and hybrid. Now it is time to summarize. So cloud computing is a new model of delivering computing resources to the end user. These resources are called services. There are essentially three kinds of services which are available: software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. And there are 5 characteristics which makes cloud computing very distinct. They are called on-demand, broadband access, pooled resources, measured services, and rapid elasticity. And finally, there are 4 categories in which cloud computing can be deployed. They are called public, private, hybrid, and community clouds. So cloud computing in general is a great resource which is democratizing the computing. That means even an individual who doesn't own a computer can use this. An entrepreneur who wants to start a business without much investment can use cloud computing. So everything related to cloud computing actually enriches our life, and it is time to start using cloud computing wherever you are.